All right, we are continuing on for episode 190 of Catfish on Ice. I got my amazing co-host Rich Howe back. I miss this guy so much. How long has it been, dude?
It's been a couple weeks at least
since we've actually been on the podcast together. We've been updating the YouTube channel here and there.
I didn't think we'd have anything to talk about. I mean, there's nothing going on in the Nashville Predators world.
Absolutely nothing.
Sarcasm.
We went from being in the desert with tumbleweeds blowing in the wind and no news at all to just like in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane when it comes to news for the Predators right now.
I would check Twitter
so much.
I saw things that I never thought I would see. It's amazing. I saw stuff. I was like, are you kidding me right now? But it was awesome. Lots of movements.
So we got the beginning of episode 190 up on YouTube right now. If you're listening the next day on Spotify or any of your favorite podcast platform, then thank you for sticking around here in episode 190 as Rich Howe joins the party. I got so much to ask him. We are going to really discuss. We're going to center the rest of this episode 190 around just how gutsy Barry Trotz is being, and are we a little uncomfortable about how aggressive he's being, or is this exactly what we wanted? Do we question some of these moves? We got to talk about the Matt Duchene buyout a little bit more in detail, because I did not actually cover that too much at the beginning of episode 190. So we really got to dive into that. Rich, really, let's go back in time a little bit, because honestly, I haven't talked to you since Ryan Johansson was traded. That's what really got this all started. That was the first domino that really fell in when it came to all these roster moves. And I said at the time that when Ryan Johansson was traded, I was like, okay, there's something else going on here, obviously. And lo and behold, we eventually see everything unfold in free agency. So, Rich, first of all, how you been, man? And then I want you to touch on Ryan Johansson first of all, because I haven't even heard your opinion on that.
Doing good. It's almost 4th of July.
There you go.
Fireworks. Apparently my neighborhood starts celebrating 4th of July like a week ago. There's fireworks every night. My dog loves that.
And they will be celebrating 4th of July with fireworks up until like the middle of the month. Just remember that as well.
Yes, they will. They will do fireworks tonight. They will do some tomorrow until about 1 a.m. And it just keeps going. They just keep celebrating and celebrating. So
there you go.
To them, I guess.
There you go.
So the Ryan Johansson, wow, that was like shocker number one. I didn't think they would ever get rid of that dude in the way they got rid of him.
And that sounds so bad the way you say it, but I know you don't mean it that way.
I do not mean it that way. I love the dude. But for years, a couple of years, probably 2 or 3 years, everybody's been saying, hey, we need to get rid of these big, huge contracts. We need to get rid of Ryan Johansson. He's not living up to whatever, and it finally happened. I was totally shocked. Like I couldn't even believe it. And I thought it was good. I think it was something that they needed to do. It hurts to get rid of such a good player, but the team has just been stagnant for so many years. They've tried to add people here and there to make things better. And last year we had a little glimmer of hope, and that turned out to be a disaster. I think it's just all aggression.
We're not going to go too deep into the Ryan Johansson thing, because it's a little bit old news, but it did really get this whole ball rolling here when it comes to all the other moves that Barry Trotz ended up making after that. So that's why it's still worth talking about going back to it. My whole thing on Ryan Johansson getting traded is we always said, look, if you're going to move that contract at any point, you're going to have to retain some salary. You keep $4 million of it, but in the short term. So we're about to get into Matt Duchene buyout as well and how we feel about that, because that's
number 2.
that actually dwarfs the Ryan Johansson trade in shock value for me. It doesn't.
Me too.
It's like if we're going to scale 1 to 10, we'll put the Johansson trade for me at like maybe a 5. The Matt Duchene buyout is like a 10.5 on the 10 on the shock value scale.
100%. Yeah. If I thought I was shocked about Ryan Johansson, the shock was really about Matt Duchene. I could not.
We'll get into that a little bit later, but just to touch on Ryan Johansson for me, It's all about freeing up short-term cap space, in my opinion, when it comes to Barry Trotz, and it now makes sense looking back on it now and how he did free agency. Wanted to maximize the cap value that he could have. I think he really played the used car salesman here on us, though, here. And he would be a really good used car salesman because he said in every interview that he was not impressed by the free agency class this year. He lulled us to sleep. He made it he made it seem like he wasn't going to do anything. And so this past Saturday on free agency day, I go into it thinking, even after the Duchene buyout which happened the day before, I still looked at it as, okay, we're maybe going to get one or two depth players, like players that can fill out the third line or the fourth line, can compete, maybe eat up some minutes or whatever here or there. But, I saw the Duchene buyout, as we're going to get into a little bit here, as we want the young kids to play. And so I didn't see a replacement in free agency coming, and that's ended up what happening, which we got to talk about that as well. We got so much to get into here.
Tons of stuff.
With your host, Chad Minton and Rich Howe, rounding out episode 190 with Rich Howe jumping in with us. And also we're brought to you by DraftKings promo code THPN and part of the Hockey Podcast Network. All right. So, that's what happened. Ryan Johansson gets traded away. You get Alex Galchenyuk, which doesn't even get re-signed. It turns out that was just a part of the trade where the Colorado Avalanche just wanted a free roster space up.
Yep.
So we don't even have to think about that guy. So let's move along here. Now that I got your thoughts on Ryan Johansson trade, and talk about the Matt Duchene buyout, because I didn't really touch on it much at the beginning of episode 190. So we really got to dive into this now for the rest of episode 190, and then we'll touch on the free agency signings as well. So Matt Duchene gets bought out, had 3 years left on his current contract. So both of your $8 million players are now gone. And I'm about to really blow your mind on this one, Rich.
I'm ready.
I said this earlier in this episode, if you didn't already see it. So you got Matt Duchene now signed for the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars swoop up and get him.
That was another shocker.
For $3 million a year, dude.
Yeah.
You want to talk about value. That is crazy value. Good on Dallas. Man.
I think it is good. I think he realized that he hasn't lived up to his potential the last few years. And I think he needed to reset his value a little bit, maybe.
We got to say hi to a new YouTube viewer here. Buster Bennett jumps in here and says, I love what Trotz is doing. First of all, we are split 50-50, I feel like, in the Preds world right now on if they like what Trotz is doing and they don't like what Trotz is doing. It is 50-50 right now.
It is very
much
much so.
There are plenty of people who don't know what the hell Trotz is doing and they think he's crazy. Yep. And then there's that other half that are like, give me more. We love this. It's finally happening. We finally have a GM that wants to make noise and do these things. I threw it out there on Twitter. I said that Trotz is playing chess, not checkers right now with these moves. So Buster jumps in and says that, and also jumps in and says, really like the draft the Preds had. So Buster's happy right now.
Something else that is polarizing among people.
for sure. But thank you for commenting, Buster, on YouTube. We really appreciate you a lot, and welcome to the podcast. Max Greenberg, our good friend, says, usually when a shocking move / decision happens with one of my teams, I always try to find some justification. 3 days later, I'm still as lost about the Duchene buyout. Absolutely couldn't believe it. I didn't see it coming either.
I didn't. Not really in a million years did I see that coming. It sucks because you like him. Obviously, he's a very good hockey player. He's had down seasons, but I think it's just it was necessary, definitely necessary, and it'll probably even help his career some too. Down the road, but I don't think you could have moved this team forward with both of those guys really the way Barry Trotz wants to. So,
I mean, the reason why the Duchene buyout shocks me, I'm not going to say it's necessarily the wrong decision, but what shocks you add more dead cap money to this, to the books, and it's getting kind of out of hand here. You're still paying Kyle Turris. Of course, Johansson's on there. And it's getting a little out of control, but Trotz is living in the now. And I think a lot of reason why people are pushing back on Trotz is that he is not committing to the rebuild that a lot of people want. Clearly, he's not. You don't go out and sign a Ryan O'Reilly in free agency if you're committed to a rebuild. You're committed, and Trotz has said in multiple interviews, this is not a rebuild.
I think
he's not mincing words.
No. And I love the aggressive Barry Trotz. I think it's awesome to finally see some movement and some things that needed to have been done a couple of years ago, if not 3 years ago. So I love it. I love it. I would have never, that was another thing. I would have never thought Ryan O'Reilly would want to come and play for the Nashville Predators. I mean, it's just amazing. It's crazy.
Well, and we can talk about him a little bit later as well. But yeah, so the contract buyout for Matt Duchene, I'm going to try to find it here, see if I can get the details on it because it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
The buyout money for him is going to ramp up after this first season. It's
basically next year it's like $5 million or something.
Yeah, we're gonna find it here. until I find it. There it goes, buyout details. But basically how I feel about it is when it comes to looking at the lineup for next year, and the reason why this shocked me so much with the Duchene being bought out was I kind of viewed Duchene as the elder statesman of the room.
Yeah.
I really appreciated for all of last season how he battled through all the adversity that the team was dealing with. I thought he was a really good veteran leader for all the young kids that were coming up and playing around him.
Yeah.
And, he's one season removed from setting the record for the Preds in goals for a season. Him and Philip Forsberg were neck and neck all season to break the single season goal record. With all of that said, he never lived up to the $8 million contract, even though he was still a very streaky player. And Trotz is cleaning house. He's taking an axe, not to the whole roster, but definitely to the veteran part of the roster. He took an axe to it. He's made it clear he doesn't want to touch the younger players, the ones he really likes. That young core is safe. Cody Glass got his new deal, $5 million contract. So congrats to Cody Glass. Alexandre Carrier also gets signed as we expected. So it looks like Trotz is taking the approach of, I'm cleaning house with all these veterans, at least in the forwards, in the forward core. And I am embracing the youth, but I'm also getting myself some new veterans in here, which is why you get Ryan O'Reilly.
And some veterans with some Stanley Cups, which
they've got a winning pedigree. You're bringing guys who know how to win, and hopefully these guys can come in and show the young crop of talent how to win the right way in the league. You want your Cody Glass to be your eventual long-term top line center. You want Tommy Novak to eventually play a big role. You got centers. You need to develop them. That's another reason why Ryan O'Reilly is going to be great. For these centers, because he is a proven winner as a center. A lot of people hate the Ryan O'Reilly free agency signing because he is 32. He's not the right. He's probably not the right. He's not in his prime when he won the Conn Smythe in 2018-19. But for $4.5 million though, Rich, are you okay with that? $4.5 million for 4 years?
I'm absolutely okay with it because he played like a beast in Toronto. He had
a finger injury.
And he
had an unfortunate finger injury.
He definitely was showing some zip in his step. So I'm good with it. Definitely. I like him. I liked him in Toronto. Didn't like him with St. Louis, obviously, but I'm good with it. I like all the guys they got. So,
and we're gonna kind of discuss at the end of this to really round out episode 190. We're gonna discuss what the lineup's gonna look like now after all these signings. But that's what ends up happening. with the Matt Duchene buyout. I'm trying to find the exact terms on this.
Max Greenberg.
Because
this was the part that hurt it. He said Duchene wanted to be there, and that does hurt a little bit.
That is very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
He loved being in Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd move. It is, and it's a risky move because you got more money tied up in a player that no longer plays for your team. And so Trotz clearly wanted to change the culture of this locker room, and he's used that word a lot, culture.
Yep.
I don't know what that says about Johansson or Duchene, that they weren't culture guys that Trotz was looking for, but that's what it tells me, and that's not a good look. And I'm sure it hurts. It does hurt. It hurts to lose both of them. I mean,
yeah, it does. I mean, it really does.
We knew this was. We had to kind of see this coming because, anytime you get a new general manager, they're going to come in and they want to put their own stamp on things.
Yep. And he has. New coach, got rid of some older players.
Trotz wasn't going to come in and play the status quo. He wasn't going to do it.
Because that's what
he's delivering on that.
Yeah, that's what's hurt the Predators for the past 4 years is the status quo, and that just isn't good enough anymore. So I'm glad there's some movement, even though it hurts.
Sure. So now, Rich, I want to get into these free agency signings a little bit more in depth. Again, I talked about it a little bit to begin episode 190, but now I got you with me. And I know you're a big Ryan O'Reilly guy. You've already said you love this move. Where do you see him fitting in the lineup? And first of all, with this free agency signing, does that pretty much tell you that that Trotz is still very much in let's get back to the playoffs right now? I don't like this feeling of the Predators not being in the playoffs. I'm taking a detour around this whole rebuild crap, and we're going to try to win now.
Yeah,
is that what you see this move?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. I see him. Obviously, Ryan O'Reilly's probably going to be your top center, I would assume. I would think.
I would. I mean, I would think so as well.
Yeah.
If you look at the lineup,
so much money.
I would expect him to be your top line center, and I would like. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I would really like Luke Evangelista and Philip Forsberg to be on the top line. Let's throw Luke Evangelista in there and see if he can deliver and be a goal scorer with Ryan O'Reilly playing as his center. Ryan O'Reilly is going to bring out the best in a young player like Evangelista. He's already gotten a taste of the NHL and played outstanding last season to close out the season when he got called up. That would be a great top line that I would be all about on opening night.
Yeah, and that's what Trotz bringing in these players. That's why he brought them in, is to coach the younger guys and help them along, help them get better. And that's, what would be the point of doing all these moves and then putting Evangelista on the fourth line because he's not going to flourish there. You need to be, right in the mix, learning every night. So, I love it. I'm all for everything that they're doing.
Ryan O'Reilly has always been a good two-way player. He's always been in the running for the Selk. He's been in the running. He's won the Lady Byng Trophy before. He's a leader on the ice. He wants to win. You don't have to worry about him taking even a shift off. He's literally always going to bring you that 100%. And as much as I love Johansson and Duchene, there were games where you literally had to look in the box score to see if they actually played in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate to say it, but
yeah, they're very, very streaky. Matt Duchene for sure. Yeah, and like you said, you could go 3-4 games in a row, 5 games when he doesn't do anything, and then one night he'll play well. So. Need a little more consistency. I'd rather have somebody get a point a night than go for 5 games with none. So, hopefully that'll happen. Some consistency. That's all we're asking for.
So let me get back. I finally found the actual numbers from Puckpedia on here about the cap hit that the Predators are going to suffer. From the Matt Duchene buyout. So you got to pay Matt Duchene for a little bit longer here, and it extends for a while. So
several
the next, so it goes from a little around 2.5 million, a little approximately, and then it goes up to a little over 5.5 million against the cap next season. Wow. And then going to then the following season, 2025-26, it goes down to a little over 6.5 million against the cap. And then it drops down significantly to 1.5 million around. This is all approximate. I'm rounding up and down here.
How many years was it total? I don't remember.
It looks like, according to Puckpedia, the buyout goes all the way to 2028, 29. You're paying him.
Oh, gosh.
It's a very complicated buyout. But here's why I said this was a short-term cap space deal here for Trotz. Mm-hmm. In the short term, Trotz saved $5.444 million in cap space.
Yeah.
In the short term.
Yeah. And that's enough to make the moves that he wanted to make. So
it almost comes off like Trotz wants to give it one more year to see if the Predators can do something special in free agency or in terms of trying to make the playoffs, hanging around the bubble, getting in. You still got Saros for a couple years, and then you don't know what's going to happen with that. So I think he is saying, okay, I need this cap space now. I'll deal with the consequences later when it comes to dealing with probably a lot significantly less cap space.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to put this on the screen for everybody to see.
So if that lasts until 2028, if I'm reading this correct, there's only 2 more years on Kyle Turris. If I'm looking at
which the fact that we're still paying that guy just makes me so sick.
But if I'm reading this right, he'll get $2 million this year and $2 million this upcoming season, and then 24-25, and then he's off the books.
Let's put it on the screen for everybody to see here.
That's a lot of money.
So, I mean, that's why people are pushing back on it. And I don't blame them. That's why it surprised me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why it surprised me, because you're adding more dead cap money to this team that doesn't need it, obviously.
Then you got those two
look at that. Look at 2024 and 25. Look at the actual cap hit for the Predators. That's the problem.
Man,
that's going to be a problem for next season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we can go back and look and see who are some big free agents coming up.
Yeah.
In the next offseason, because it's going to be tough to pay them.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Trotz is in the win now mode still. He is. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but you buy out Matt Duchene and then you go and get Ryan O'Reilly. That's where people are confused. That switch is why I'm getting a lot on Twitter from people telling me that they're very confused that you would buy out Matt Duchene, but then you would go and get yourself a Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
and all I can tell you is Trotz wants to win, and he wants to win right now. And he's trying to do that balancing act of, I believe in the youth. I'm going to let them play, not taking away spots from them necessarily, but I want to he must have really, really been just in love with getting Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I read somewhere that he had worked with him and some other, what was it?
I hear the fireworks in the background, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right? It's festive. so many fireworks. He was on the coaching staff for one of the USA teams or Canada team. I don't remember what it was, but he knows him. He's worked with him before. Is what I read somewhere. So,
Snarky Squeegee, which is our friend CJ, he jumps on and says, "I'm on the short list of fans, but I'm happy with everything going on so far." I feel like it's pretty 50-50. I don't think you're on a short list, but there are a lot of upset people. And normally, I don't know why this is, but Facebook and Twitter are always split. Facebook already is ready to fire Trotz.
Oh yeah, yep. And
Facebook already has the pitchforks out.
Yeah,
I'm seeing some people upset on Twitter as well about Trotz, but I'm a lot more positive from the fan base on Twitter. Facebook, they're already ready to fire Trotz. They're already done with him.
Somebody on Facebook the other day said, why do we get rid of Duchene? He's a 40-goal scorer. And I was like, he did that.
You're the same. And that's probably the same person who hated Duchene for all those years. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, you can't be pleased.
Yeah. That's what's funny is everybody like complains that everything stays the same. And then when you finally do something and you see some movement, everybody's mad about that. So it's like, make up your mind. Like, what do you want? What do you want?
Max gets on here, and that's a big quote. I saw that as well.
Yes.
He's quoting what Barry Trotz said. The quote, we don't want people to retire here, but win. Had to be directed at Duchene. Absolutely had to be. Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Maybe even Johansson.
Buster, yeah, the salary cap should go up. We were in a flat cap this year. The salary cap did not budge.
That's a very good point.
So it was hard for GMs to spend money this year, and they had to lose a lot of players they did not want to lose this year because the salary cap stayed where it was. So that's a good point from Buster. Good stuff coming from everybody.
They're going to be.
We appreciate it.
They're going to be losing some restricted free agents too because they only offered to Carrier and Cody Glass. So there might be a little bit of savings there, not much, but I know they got to get other players in, but
we're about to dive a little bit more into this free agency market and what the Predators did. Also, some other I kind of want to also touch on some other big signings around the league that happened. And then also we got to talk about the NHL draft, which I was so fortunate to go to. It was a blast, memory of a lifetime. Went with my buddy Clayton, who is the big Dallas Stars fan. And I gave him so much crap because he sits down next to me, right? It was hours before we actually had to go to the draft. We sits down next to me, meets up with me. And he goes, I guess he hadn't been paying attention lately to the news. And he goes, so where are the Stars picking? I go, bro, you guys don't even pick in the top 60. He's like, why'd you even invite me then? I'm like, I don't know. It'll be fun.
Hang out.
It was just hilarious to sit with a rival fan who his team's not even picking. But that's the price of winning. That's the price of winning.
Did you boo Gary Bettman like everybody else did?
No, but he did get booed. He got booed really bad, though.
We were watching.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said to the fans?
I can't remember what he said.
I don't know if it was on. I'm sure it made it on TV, but they were booing him pretty bad, and he did not waste any time. He went right on the mic and said, "Oh, is that the best you got?"
Yeah.
He went full on WWE, like evil villain wrestling villain. He went, "That the best you got?"
He turned heel like all of a sudden. Yeah,
I thought like Vince McMahon type stuff here. Like he took it all in. He took those boos and he threw it right back.
We were watching it, and my youngest daughter, she goes, "Why are they booing him?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a long story."
Yeah, let's not get into it.
Nobody.
All right, before we move on here, talk about some other free agency signings and talk more about the NHL draft and what the Preds did there, because it was a busy NHL draft as well for the Predators. Got a new DraftKings offer to tell you about. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline.org. In New York, call 877-HOPENY or text 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. In West Virginia, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in Connecticut. If you're in Connecticut, help is available for gambling problem. Call 887-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 and up in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in require max bet $50. 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/baseball terms. So, yeah, mostly baseball is all that's happening right now, everybody. So that's what you got to get in now with the DraftKings. We are in the dead dog days of no sports, unless you're a baseball fan.
Good old baseball. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
You got some fireworks going on out there.
Oh, yeah, right outside in the street.
Perfect segue, because there were fireworks galore for the Predators in free agency. I like the Ryan O'Reilly signing, but and I think he's going to fit right in as a top line center and give this Predators team more value than what definitely Ryan Johansson was bringing. No offense, and he's going to bring a winning culture, and he's going to help these younger kids like Cody Glass and Tommy Novak and Juuso Parssinen learn how to win from a winner. So it's great. Now, let's move on to the other 2 free agency signings that I'm a little confused about. I'm not going to even lie about it. Luke Schenn, another proven veteran who has won in this league, but I think a lot of fans are a little peeved right now that we signed 3 30-plus-year-old players in free agency. Didn't sign a single young player. I was very vocal that I wanted Ross Colton from Tampa.
Yeah, that would have been
I was really, really dejected when I saw that Ross Colton was going to Colorado, I believe.
Yeah.
Because he fit that young in his prime, could fit the youth movement and come in for a little cheaper than Ryan O'Reilly was signed for. But Luke Schenn, make sense of that for me, Rich, because I can't make sense. I still can't make sense of it. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, he's got 2 Stanley Cups, so that's part of it. Kind of fits into what Trotz is trying to do. Get some guys with experience. I heard somewhere. I think Barry Trotz said it. He said that Roman Josi has to. He takes some hits that he really didn't like seeing him taking, and he said Luke Schenn will make sure that doesn't happen. So maybe it's toughening up the defenseman a little bit. So hopefully that'll work out. So wasn't his contract? It was only for like 2 years though, right? It wasn't real long. Was it? Luke Schenn.
Luke Schenn. Yeah, it's not a long-term deal or anything like that. I'll find it just to make sure we're not off on it. So much has happened. We want to make sure we're correct on everything that we. No, it's 3 years.
3 years. Oh, okay. So, but it was only.
Yeah, he's 3 years, $2.75 million.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably cut.
It's a cheap deal. The AAV is super cheap. He's definitely going to bring the grit and the grind because Mark Borowiecki's obviously gone for good. So Luke Schenn can come in and maybe fill that role, even though the Predators had to play the entire year without Mark Borowiecki almost. Yeah. But he definitely comes in to replace that possibly. First of all, shout out to Mark Borowiecki for becoming a development coach.
Oh, no, it's awesome.
For the Predators. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So Luke Schenn signs a 3-year deal with the Nashville Predators, $2.75 million cap hit. Here's what I immediately thought about, though, when I saw that Luke Schenn was on this team. I started looking at the D-core, and we've all kind of figured that your top 6 defensemen were kind of set if they're all healthy. Roman Josi, Ryan McDonough, Tyson Barrie, Alexandre Carrier is now re-signed, so that's great. Didn't want to lose him. Definitely didn't want to lose him. And then Jeremy Lauzon signed to a long-term deal. Yeah. So he's going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
Dante Fabro, people. The Predators are not committed to him long-term, I'm telling you. That's what this Luke Schenn signing tells me. If they were all in on Dante Fabro, you definitely don't sign Luke Schenn. You don't do it. This is an indictment on Dante Fabro. I'm reading between the tea leaves here. I could be wrong in my assessment, but that's what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. Dante Fabro is only signed for one more year, and then he's a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what I think those fireworks are going off because I'm making 100% sense here, and I'm speaking the truth.
The fireworks are so loud. Sorry.
Tell me if I'm right or wrong on that, or how you think about that. What are you thinking that this is an indictment a little bit on Dante Fabro? Because I think he's the one that's going to lose starts out of this deal.
I do too. Yeah. Well, him or Lazan, maybe.
I don't know. I think they like Lazan.
Yeah.
I think they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess because he plays a little bit tougher game. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely an indictment on Fabro. I don't think everybody's sold in on him at all, like you said, and that's why they got Luke Schenn. I agree 100%. I like the scenario of Luke Schenn being on a line with. Well, Luke Schenn is a right-handed defenseman, so you do got to think about that. Yeah. Yeah.
So that does complicate things a little bit.
Oh boy.
I don't know. Training camp's going to be crazy.
Oh, I can't wait.
Figure out who goes where. That's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah. So you look even before, like I'm looking at the contract tracker. So they've got 6 guys right now, not including Schenn. So yeah, somebody's gonna be missing out somewhere.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously injuries occur. And so you still got Spencer Stastny and Jordan Gross and Jake Livingstone as your depth defensemen that you can call up when you need them. But, so Jeremy Lazan's a left-handed defenseman, shoots left. So yeah, that's probably your bottom pairing, I would assume, would be Jeremy Lazan and Luke Schenn.
Yeah. So, like, Yossi and McDonough, Barry, Carrier,
maybe
Schenn,
something like
Lazan.
that. And then, of course, Tyson Barrie is being floated around as trade bait at some point this coming up season at the trade deadline.
That's a shame. I like him.
I like him too, but you got to look at it in the sense of,
yeah, nobody's safe.
Well, first of all, we have no idea where the Predators are going to be, obviously. They could be competing for the playoffs again, and then you probably just hold to your guns and keep your team intact. I don't think they're going to do what they did this past trade deadline if they're in that same position. Yeah. I would assume that Trotz would keep the team together. There's not much, you had a lot of cap space going into free agency. Now, according to Puckpedia, the Predators have a projected cap space of just short of $8 million.
Yeah.
So they got a little bit to play with, but not much. Not much. You do
Shovel
have your
Alex DeBrincat.
You do have your RFA. No, stop it. You have your RFA signed. That's the kind of what we were waiting on with Cody Glass and Alexandre Carrier. We were waiting for them to get signed, and now, honestly, your roster is pretty complete.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
Your roster is pretty complete right now.
Yep. Which tells me some younger guys might be still playing in Milwaukee, I'm sure.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Some of the guys that everybody wanted to see come up.
So that's the best I can do to make sense of the Luke Schenn addition is he's going to bring some veteran experience, just like Ryan O'Reilly does. And the team's going to have that depth that they need for their defensemen. So that's good. Yep. It sounds like someone's beating against your wall or something.
I swear they're literally right in the street, right across from my house.
Just please be the old man. Get off my lawn right now.
Oh, I know.
Can you just stick your head? Can you stick your head out the window and go? Hey, I got a podcast to record here.
I know. I was like, I need an office. I need a soundproof office.
All right. And then the other free agency signing is another one that's even kind of confusing. Makes sense to this one for me.
Weird.
Gustav Nyquist.
That was a little weird. So he spent the majority of his career in Columbus and then went to Minnesota at the trade deadline last year. Yeah, I don't know. That one is a puzzler. I'm good with the other. Well, I'm good with all of them. It's fine, but the other two I can kind of make sense of. But this one, I'm not. I don't know.
So, I mean, are they really going to put Gustav Nyquist in the top 6 and take away a spot from a Philip Tomasino or a Tommy Novak or, I mean, a Juuso Parssinen? I mean, I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with that.
And this dude is almost 34 years old. But his contract, though, wasn't it? It was the one that was only 2 years.
I think that's the 2-year one.
Yeah,
that's the 2-year one.
Yep.
For just north of $3 million per year, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Well, we can go ahead and safely assume that means that your 2 remaining unrestricted free agents that are still on the books for the Predators, Zach Sanford and Rasmus Asplund, are probably gone.
Cal Foote,
your defenseman's also UFA.
He's an RFA.
Probably gone.
According to their contract tracker.
Yeah.
So they're showing Cody Glass, which he's fine. Mark Jankowski was a UFA. Sanford was UFA. Sherwood, UFA.
They've all been Sherwood and Jankowski have been re-signed already.
Okay. So they haven't updated this thing.
They haven't updated that. I'm on Puckpedia is where I'm at right now. And I don't know. Like, it's weird. I feel like Nyquist is going to take a spot from I think someone like Kiefer Sherwood's going to get bumped out of the lineup, possibly. Cole Smith, possibly getting bumped out of the lineup.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe
I have no clue where Gustav Nyquist starts on opening night in the lineup.
Maybe even Tomasino.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, you never know. Like, it happened last year.
Just not entirely sure about that one.
Yeah, that one is a little weird.
I'll leave it alone for now, but it did throw me off.
Yeah.
Shashka Tooth Tiger jumps in, always comments on all of our videos. We appreciate you. Become a regular listener. Always has so many good takes as well. I love reading their opinions. So got to get on here and share some of their comments here. Here we are, taking 2 steps backward to take 1 step sideways. Typical Preds management. Oh, I like it. All right. We're getting the rebuttal here. I love both sides of the argument. That's what this is all about. I love hearing both sides of it.
Yep.
Shashku Tooth Tiger is not a fan. Let's just put it that way of what we've done here.
Yeah.
And with about 10 million in dead cap now, that's quite the franchise-altering zombie we've got. But I will say this. Craig Smith plays guitar. And 1 year before we let him go, we signed Matt Duchene, who plays guitar. And immediately after buying him out, we signed Ryan O'Reilly, who plays guitar. So that's what we do. It's starting to make sense now. I'm seeing the common theme. We're in Music City. Honestly, I have no earthly idea where I'm going with this, but it's about as close as I can get to being positive right now. Well done. That's great from Tooth Tiger.
That is a good really insight about the guitar.
Good insight there.
For sure.
It is hard to make sense of it. It really is. Whether you like it or not, it's hard to make sense of what we're doing right now.
The only thing I can think, and this is I think this is what a lot of people need to realize. They wouldn't have done this stuff without some kind of long-term plan. They know that the cap's going to go up a little bit. I don't think they would have bought Duchene out without some sort of plan down the road, even though you do have that dead cap space. But I think they've looked at all the scenarios and they've planned accordingly. So just you got to trust Trotz, I guess. That's the only thing you can do at this point. Until he proves otherwise, until something bad happens, I'm all in.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So we are going to move along here and wrap up episode 190, action-packed, full of craziness.
Explosions.
We have a lot to process. Yeah, explosions in the background. That's a first. 190 episodes in, we've never had fireworks in the background.
So
There's a first for everything.
Worked out, but
there's a first for everything. All right.
It's kind of festive, I guess. I don't know.
It is festive.
We'll see how it shows up on the podcast. It might be annoying, and hopefully,
I think it's going to be there, but it's okay. I think everyone realizes it's 4th of July. This episode's literally going to be available for download on 4th of July. So our timing was impeccable on this one.
There you go.
All right, let's talk about the Predators draft picks and talk about what they did. First of all, going into it, there was so much chaos. Right as I'm going into Bridgestone Arena, first of all, I've never been to a draft. So upper deck is all general admission. So you just walk in and find a seat. And it was, I got to give a lot of people credit, not just Smashville, but fans all across the NHL landscape. There were every team was pretty much represented.
Yep.
I saw fans of almost every team out there. It was pretty cool. Obviously, you saw tons of Blackhawks fans. They were well behaved. I'll give them credit. They were very well behaved. But
got to be happy for them, though.
It was cool. So we fill into it. We get to the upper deck to get our seats. And, cell phone was a little spotty getting information. But all I saw was Barry Trotz is going full force to get into the top 5. Do you remember hearing that as well, Rich?
I do, and I think he tried really, really hard from the sounds of things.
I think he did as well. No
budging.
He was trying his damnedest to get in the top 5. The Montreal Canadiens were the team that were rumored to want to move that pick possibly. Mm-hmm. And the big player that was on my mind was Matt Michkov, the polarizing Russian prospect who, quite frankly, should be a number 1 overall pick in a normal draft class.
Yep.
And wow, we're going to share the poll. We threw a poll question out as the draft was approaching, got around 200 votes, which was pretty cool, and asked what fans thought about the Predators trading into the top 5. And if they do, what would you rather them do? Stick at number 15, which is what they ended up doing.
Ooh, look at that.
Matt Michkov, which was who I wanted. I was one of the ones that voted for Matt Michkov there.
Yeah.
I would have been going nuts in that arena if Trotz would have pulled off getting to the number 5 pick from the Canadiens and getting Matt Michkov. But the Canadiens didn't even end up taking Michkov, which threw everyone off.
Yeah. And I heard something on Twitter about Michkov, had a private skate with the Flyers management, and that he wanted to go to Philadelphia for some reason. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
There was definitely a lot of moving parts going with that. I saw that Yaroslav Askarov was the one being shopped.
Yep. I saw that as well.
Wow, that makes me. We'll never know for sure, but
dude,
maybe eventually we'll know. But
you want to talk about making fans angry?
It didn't end up happening. In fact, the Predators stayed at number 15 and took Matthew Wood. Wasn't my top prospect that I wanted at that spot. I wanted Gabe Perreault. I was very vocal that I wanted Gabe Perreault. I would have been happy with Colby Barlow. I would have been happy with Axel Sandin Pellikka, the best offensive defenseman in the draft class, a power play specialist, a potential power play Roman Josi type quarterback.
That's why I wanted
for the power play. That's who I wanted. Yeah, but they go with Matthew Wood. Matthew Wood's got a high ceiling. He does.
That's probably why they took him.
Scores a lot of goals. We're about to put the draft picks up, the full draft class up for the Predators for 2023. Let's put it on the screen. This is from, there you go, right there, from Hockey DB. Zoom in a little bit.
All those picks.
There you have it. A lot of picks.
They took a goaltender.
They end up making. They end up making 11 picks total. They had 13 going into the draft. They end up making 11.
Yeah, they traded.
What do you think? So I look at it. Matthew Wood goes at 15. He scores a lot of goals. He has the potential to become that type of player for you. He's with the University of Connecticut. He's a really, really talented player as a freshman. He came right in and had an outstanding season as a freshman. So it's not that I hate the pick. There were other players I wanted over him that I preferred.
Yeah.
And then at number 24, the Predators take Tanner Molendyk, a defenseman who is growing on me. I didn't know a lot about him.
He's supposed to be pretty good from what I've seen.
I like it. As I've watched his tape, and we got development camp going on right now for the Predators as well. Apparently he looks really good at development camp right now. So that's cool. And WHL, the WHL where Molendyk's out of, is starting to produce a lot of talent.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good league that's starting to really put out a lot of talent. So
is
I'm excited about that one.
Is he the one where they said he was the first player that was drafted from that team ever? The Saskatoon Blades? I believe so, yeah. Yeah, like none of them, they've never had any players drafted before. Which that's cool.
Yeah,
good.
That is cool.
I like that.
So you look through the draft class here, they go with two defensemen, one goalie, and everything else was forwards.
Yeah, that tells you something.
Yeah.
Scoring.
I like the draft class. When you get when you make 11 picks in a draft, I mean, you got to hit on a couple of them.
You would hope. For sure.
I do really like the Tanner. I think that's my favorite pick is the Tanner Molendyk pick.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they needed to address defensemen with one of their 2 draft picks in the first round. So I'm glad they took care of that, at least at number 24.
Yeah.
Would have liked to gotten a player with a little bit more of a higher ceiling than Matthew Wood, possibly. I really liked Colby Barlow, who had one of the best shots in the draft. Gabe Perreault was very vocal. I wanted Gabe Perreault, who looked so great for the U.S. Team USA development team, national development team. Set records for points in a season.
Yep.
Playing with Will Smith.
That was funny.
But you know what? I like Matthew Wood. I like his upside.
Did you like that when Will Smith got drafted? They played Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes, that was really cool. So a rumor has it the prospects got to pick their song that they wanted to play.
Awesome. Yeah.
So that was we were laughing. We were having we were laughing hard about that one in the arena when he picked that. Yeah.
I like that.
The Felix Nielsen pick, I've seen good things that could be a steal, that second round pick. The center from Sweden.
Yeah.
So that could work out good. The Kalen Lind could also be a good one out of the WHL for the Red Deer Rebels. I love those team names.
I know, they're so great, aren't they?
The Blades, the Rebels.
Yeah, I love
it. You got the Everett Silver Tips.
Yeah, so, whatever all that is.
So, yeah, good stuff there. Overall, I think it's a pretty good draft class, but you can't say one way or the other. It's way too soon. Obviously.
It is. And I think that's what was good about them drafting Wood is he was planning on going to college. So he'll have a few years to, develop, and he's in the United States, which that makes things a little easier too. So,
and Trotz has already been pretty vocal about saying usually, unless they're just a generational insane talent, obviously like a Connor Bedard or someone like that, you're in a 3 to 4 year window here for these players to be ready to play NHL minutes. Yeah. So my thoughts on this draft class is it's going to be a while before we see any of these guys.
Yeah,
it's going to be a while,
years, like you said.
Most
that's
likely.
That's one of my favorite things when I talk to like sports people who don't know anything about hockey. I'm like, probably like the top maybe 3, if you're lucky, 3, 4 draft players. They'll play next year in the NHL, but the rest of them won't for 3 or 4 years. They're like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, yeah, it's not like the NFL or the NBA. It's they're just not ready.
There's our friend Liz. I got to see Liz at the draft. So at the draft red carpet, she sends me a DM on Twitter, and I'm like, I got to find Liz. I got to say hello to her. I got to meet her. She's awesome. She's one of our favorites, and we love talking to her. She was in our Catfish and Ice Fantasy Hockey League, all the good stuff. And so I'm like, how am I going to find Liz? How am I going to find her? Because it was a pretty big crowd. So they did a draft red carpet where all the projected top picks were out there in their nice suits and slicked back hair, signing autographs and stuff right in front of Bridgestone Arena. It was a really cool experience. And Liz, she was right front row center.
Good for her.
Yeah, Liz, you were up there. You had a front row seat. It was pretty cool. But I got to meet Liz, took a selfie with her. It was great meeting you, Liz. It really was.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I've always wanted to get my Pecorine jersey signed, and I think I missed my opportunity because he was out signing stuff on the red carpet, and I'm like, idiot, why did you not go down there and get him to sign your jersey? But very disappointing.
Yeah. Buster says TM, which is Tanner Molendyk, is one smooth skater. That's what I saw as well.
That's what
I'm excited. I think that's my favorite draft pick. That's the one I'm most intrigued about and most excited about. So we will see how that works out. Like I said, this isn't a draft class where the Predators had to necessarily draft someone who has to play right now.
Yep.
They pretty much have their lineup.
Yeah, they've got plenty to play right now.
Exactly. So you can play the long-term game here and let these kids develop like they need to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good point, and Trotz made that pretty clear talking about it. So yeah, let's be patient here. Let's see what happens. It's all about what type of coaching they get at this point, for sure.
For sure. Trust Trotzy.
So let's close out these last couple minutes, giving a quick rundown of what we think the roster is going to look like on opening night now. So we already mentioned we think that Ryan O'Reilly's our 1C, our top line center. I said I would like to see Luca Evangelista on a wing and Philip Forsberg obviously on the other wing. I think that line can do really special things.
I'm down with that.
Really, really awesome for Luca Evangelista as well. So are you on board with that, Richard? You got someone else?
No.
Right.
I think that's a good plan.
Second line. That means Cody Glass would have to play the second line center, which I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Cody Glass playing second line center. And then you got to think, all right, you got a lot of young guys who can play center, but they can also play wing. Mm-hmm. So you got to figure out, do you want Tommy Novak playing center or wing? Do you want Juuso Parssinen playing center or wing? That's the tough thing to figure out here.
I think I'd like Tommy Novak to play center.
Yeah.
Actually. And I would like Parssinen to play a wing.
So let's put Parssinen on the second line wing with Cody Glass. And then I would expect them to probably put Gustav Nyquist on the top six, most likely.
That's
I mean, you're paying the guy over $3 million a year, which I know isn't a lot, but you went out and signed him for a reason.
Yep.
And he's a veteran, so I feel like that free agency signing of Nyquist, the most I can make sense of it was we want to put him in the top six.
Yep. So then you've got the third line, and I don't know if they're going to have like a bruiser line like they did in the past anymore. They might get rid of that.
Maybe not. Well, you got to figure it out. I think Trennan would probably be on the third line like he's always been.
Citizens.
Novak. Ugh. Where does Novak go? We got to figure out where Novak's going to go.
That's true.
This is tough.
It is very tough.
Greenberg right in here.
Afanasiev.
So he likes our top line with Evangelista. He's got Tomasino, Glass, and Parssinen on his second line. Nyquist, Novak, Afanasiev on the third line. Sherwood, Sissons, Trennan on the fourth line.
Ooh, he's got Yossi, Carrier. That's okay. That's cool.
It's good.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it would be good to see Afanasiev to make it this season. It was close last season. It would be good to see him.
That means no Cole Smith. Cole Smith might miss out. Michael McCarron. I wonder where Michael McCarron's going to fit in.
Forgot about him too.
A lot to be sorted out in training camp. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll find out.
Good stuff, though. We can't wait. So now we're kind of going to take a deep breath and see if anything else happens. I wouldn't expect the Predators to do anything else, but every time I say that, I'm dead wrong. So just going to pump the brakes on that and see what happens. But as we said, they have projected around $8 million of cap space left. I would assume he wants to carry that into the season and let things move on the way they are. Some other big free agency signings real quick before we close this one out, Rich. Anything else that really stood out to you in the NHL free agency market?
Well, Matt Duchene going to the Dallas Stars. That was weird.
Our two former $8 million players are staying in the Central Division. A lot of people are projecting Ryan Johansson to be the second line center for the Avalanche.
Yeah.
So that's kind of strange.
That was weird. Tyler Bertuzzi not staying in Boston was a little weird. Ryan O'Reilly wanting to leave Toronto. A lot of people said that was because the locker room's not great. So I saw that. They don't think that the coach provides a good happy feeling in the locker room. So,
the Tampa Bay Lightning, who you must like, had a pretty rough free agency. They lost a lot of really key players to their core, including Alex Killorn, who went to the Ducks.
That's crazy.
I think that's a good pickup for the Ducks there. 4 years, $25 million.
Yep.
So that one stood out to me. The Ducks seem like they're trying to get on the back end of their rebuild and get back into making some things happen. So that one stood out to me.
They lost
for sure.
Lost Pat Maroon. Pat Maroon got shipped up to Minnesota.
Former Nashville Predator Nick Bonino is going to the Rangers along with Jonathan Quick. Jonathan Quick going to the Rangers.
Yep.
Another big free agent. Again, it wasn't a big lights out free agency class, but a lot happened. It was a busy one. How about Michael Bunting? Michael Bunting was one of the big free agents on the market. He goes 3 years, $13.5 million to the Hurricanes.
Yep.
Hurricanes were very busy in free agency.
Max Domi went to Toronto. That was pretty big.
You see where apparently Nashville was in the running for Max Domi there for a little bit?
I did see that. I would have been all right with that.
All right, so our former beloved backup goalie to Yaroslav Askarov down in Milwaukee, Devin Cooley, who absolutely deserves to be starting somewhere. He shouldn't be a backup. He's good enough to be a starter. The goalie factory in Smashville continues. That conveyor belt keeps rolling along. Devin Cooley went out and got himself a good deal with the Sabres. So he joins the Sabres organization now, Devin Cooley.
Yep. That'd be good for him.
Good for him. Happy for him.
Ryan Reeves went to Toronto. That was
very happy about that. I know the Toronto fans are happy to get him.
Yeah. He said, "I'm just going to go out and hit somebody, and everything will be great." So
Craig Smith goes to the Stars as well.
I saw that as well.
So you got Craig Smith and Matt Duchene on former Stars, former Preds joining the Stars. Here was a big one. Also for the Hurricanes, Dmitry Orlov.
Yes,
that's one of your big. That's one of your. That was actually one of your more lucrative free agency signings of the entire class. Dmitry Orlov goes to the Hurricanes. Hurricanes very much their Stanley Cup window is still very much open.
Yep.
I know they're extremely disappointed in these past playoffs. I had them picked as my Stanley Cup winner. They had some really unfortunate injuries that derailed them a little bit, but they're staying in on that Stanley Cup window. So Dmitry Orlov might have been one of the biggest free agency signings out of all of them.
Golly, it's the finale.
Milan Lucic goes to the Boston Bruins. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, that'll be good for them. He beats people up pretty good, from what I understand.
Yeah, that
was like a
stood out to me
1 year
as well.
Type thing. Yeah, I really wish putting on my Boston hat, I really wish they could have kept Tyler Bertuzzi because he was good from the time. Like, he really made an impact on the team, but like I said, just didn't have enough money.
Blake Wheeler goes to the Rangers as well on a pretty minimum deal, $800,000 deal. He was pretty upset and wanting to get out of Winnipeg.
Connor Hellebuck wants to get out of Winnipeg.
That's what I was literally about to say. We still have Connor Hellebuck hanging around that drama for Winnipeg. Because Winnipeg's still in win now mode. They're not trying to rip things apart up there.
Yeah.
And to have your Vezina caliber goalie wanting out, that's some drama you definitely don't want.
Yeah. And he wants a bunch of money from what I read. I thought it was like 8 or 9 million. That's a lot.
Yep. But he's worth it. All right, everybody. It's been an awesome episode 190. Happy to have our awesome co-host Rich Howe back with the fireworks in the back. And you know what? Actually, they're firing those fireworks off in the background, Rich, because they're excited and celebrating that you're back on the show.
Yeah, back together we are.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
That's right.
We're gonna go with that. All right, it's been fun, guys. Thank you for listening to the live portion of Catfish and Ice, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Please hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It helps out a ton. Thank you for watching the first half of this episode on YouTube as well. We're trying to really pump out the YouTube content for you guys when the really big news happens. So keep up the support. Thanks to DraftKings for sponsoring the podcast. Absolutely. At promo code THPN with offers. If you're a baseball fan, there's plenty of games to get into with our promo code. And thank you to the Hockey Podcast Network as well for being such an amazing network for us to be a part of. Take care. Have a happy 4th of July, everybody. Please use safety when shooting off these fireworks. Can I preach that? I can't preach that enough.
Yeah.
We don't need any blown off fingers, all right?
Don't blow off any of your fingers. Anything. Hearing, the whole 9 yards.
Let's have a very safe 4th of July, but let's have a lot of fun. Drink plenty of water and please hydrate because there's a massive heat wave hitting the entire country right now. So that's another one. Don't blow your fingers off with fireworks and don't get yourself dehydrated. Drink that water. All right? All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Have a good one.